Welcome to another episode of Wow, You Can Cook. And today, Dr. Gloria will be leading a class for you to make French onion pasta. Hello, everyone. Hi, Dr. G.
Good morning. Is it morning? It's not now, but yes. Hello, everybody.
All right. This one looks pretty darn good to me.
Yep. Anti-inflammatory recipes. Yes. And the reason I'm doing several sauces for pasta so that you don't have to cook a lot in the summer, hopefully. And of course, I hope it's gluten-free pasta because gluten induces inflammation, which Tracy and I know firsthand. You had dinner out not long ago. You were telling me, I don't know, maybe it was a few months ago, that you had something and then your knuckles were all swollen. Do you remember what it was? Was it bread at somebody's house or pasta or what was it?
No, because I would never eat those. I get inflamed when I go somewhere and they use like canola oil and that garbage
Yep.
stuff. Because I always ask, but they don't always know. You know, they'll say, oh, yeah, it's olive oil, and then it's not, you know? So,
Yeah. But also, didn't you have an episode with somebody that used panko thinking they were doing the right thing?
oh, yeah,
That's what I'm talking about, because you had a lot of swollen knuckles the next day. You couldn't get your rings on or off. Tell us about that, because I don't think people think about that.
Okay. So essentially what happened is we had a dinner party and we had a Greek night. You know, I love cooking and I love making theme nights and stuff. And so my friend brought her Greek meatballs. And those meatballs she said they were gluten-free because she knows I have a hard line with that. And so I'm like, oh, cool. And they were delicious. And I ate a ton. And long story short, the next day my rings wouldn't come off and I knew something was up. And so I messaged her. I said, I thought you said they were gluten-free. She's like, yeah, they were. I didn't use any breadcrumbs. I just used panko. I said, well, what the panko is, dummy?
It's breadcrumbs.
Yeah. And you know what, you guys, it takes like 2 to 3 days for that inflammation to go away. It doesn't just happen.
Exactly. And that's why not everybody connects it. You don't connect the cause. You go out to eat and you get a bad oil, like Tracy was saying, or you get gluten in something or a nightshade if you're real sensitive to it, like I am. And then it might be, for me, it's within 12 hours. But some people, like Tracy said, it's 2 or 3 days. And then they never connect it to the time that they ate out or that they ate at someone's home, which is why I don't usually eat at people's homes. If I do, I take my own food. So it's really important that you understand. And I thought of Tracy on Saturday when I had to run out and buy some panko, because I obviously always buy gluten-free panko. So know that it is available. But people don't think of it. They grab a box of panko and they don't think of looking to see if it's gluten-free. So let that be a lesson. It's really important that if you are sensitive, if you have any inflammation, stay away from the gluten. And especially now that there's so many alternatives available, read the labels. Don't be in a hurry. Because I've made that mistake where I think it's the same product in the past and I pick it up, get home, and read the label before I go to cook it, and it's not the gluten-free one, or it's got a lot of potato starch, and that's the same thing.
So I learned a new trick because I love watching YouTube recipes. Like that's one of my fun things I like to do. And so I learned a trick so I was using pork panko. Remember I told you guys that's
right.
what I used a couple times. Well, then I found out that you can dehydrate any meat and then add it to a food processor and make your own panko of any meat you want to do. So what I was going to do was do some just dehydrated bison. Like you cook the bison and you make it ground and then you put it in the dehydrator and then you put it in the food processor. So it takes like 4 hours to dehydrate. And then anyway, I'm going to try it. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
I will buy the panko. Thank you. I've got enough on my plate, but that sounds good because I didn't know something you shared with us. I've seen the pork panko, but I didn't realize it was pork rinds until you told us. And then I looked at the package and sure enough. So if you can eat pork, if you like it and you want to bread it with that, at least you know it's gluten-free. Okay. Adelita, good morning, dear. How are you?
Good morning.
Doing
How's
better?
everybody doing?
You're doing better?
Lots better.
Lots better. Good. Good to hear that.
Yeah, I got
Okay,
my
so
working.
you got your white angel, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I don't want to be without my white angel. Are you kidding?
No.
It's in my pocket right now. And my HHS is up higher than I've had it, and so far so good. So say a prayer that we can keep it there for both Brian's condition and mine. I'm doing okay with it. He, being on dialysis, it's a little iffy, but we've got it up to 50 finally for all this time, and we've had it up there for a little over a day. So we've done okay so far. And I actually slept and dreamt a lot last night, so it's really helping with that. Okay, so
Hello,
let
Karina.
me. Oh, Karina's there. Hi. So for those of you cooking, is it just Magda and Sandy today?
Jill.
No, and Jill. And
No.
Jill. Okay. Did all three of you, and again, let me say something. Don't ever feel like you shouldn't come on, and Tracy has repeated this many times, because you're not going to cook. Okay? It's fun. We all learn from each other. You may have something to contribute, a trick, a new food you found that's healthy. Share all that. It doesn't mean you have to cook. Even if we have just one person cooking, which we hope we have more than one eventually, or two or three, we all learn from each other, and it's a fun time. It's a time to bond. It's a time for us as a family of QHS to be together. So please don't ever feel like, oh, I don't know, I'm not cooking, I shouldn't be on there. That's not the case. But I always need to know who's cooking so I can guide them. So Jill, did you cook your pasta already?
I did.
Good. I was hoping you did. I should have put that in the recipe. I know Magda did. Good. Right? Yeah. And Sandy, did you cook your pasta, honey?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. So we don't have to go through all of that. You all know how to cook pasta. One trick is that putting a little bit of, I always salt mine when I'm boiling it. But one trick is to, if you haven't already done it, is to put a little bit of oil. I add a little avocado oil or a dab of coconut oil to the water, especially with gluten-free pasta, because it tends to stick. And if you do that, it won't stick. So that's really a good, I had a terrible time when gluten-free pasta first came out because it was gluey, and if any of you tried it 10 years ago, you know what I mean? It was really good flavor, but my God, it was a mass by the time you took it out. It's not that way now. They perfected that, and it's really good, but it can still stick more than regular pasta, okay? So make sure that you add a little bit of oil. I would suggest coconut or avocado oil. Don't put olive oil, remember, because you're going to boil water. Okay, so since our pasta is already cooked, I'm not going to go through all that. Let's do the sauce. So the sauce ingredients is 1 cup of broth, or I use beef broth, the stock, and the bone broth. The one I buy, the broth that I buy is bone broth and beef broth, or chicken and chicken broth. And then you need an extra 1/2 cup of it, and you'll see later on why. So measure all of this into a measuring cup that's easy to pour out, like one of your Pyrex ones that has the little spout or whatever. And that's what the directions say, is to combine the sauce ingredients in a large measuring cup with a spout, if you can. Measure out all the ingredients before beginning anything. It's just easier. You're going to make it just like you would make a slurry. You know what a slurry is? Does anybody not know what a slurry is in cooking? Put your thumbs up if you don't know. Okay, that's okay. See, that's how we learn.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
When
know.
you don't know. Okay, a slurry is if I'm going to thicken a gravy, for instance, or a sauce. A slurry is when you put the flour, or the tapioca flour, or the gluten-free, or whatever you're using, cornstarch, you put it in with the water or with the cold broth, make a slurry, slur it around, and then you add it to whatever you're putting in and keep stirring it so it doesn't lump. When you make a roux, R-O-U-X, whole different ballgame. You melt your butter or your coconut oil or your oil, you put the flour right in it when it's hot, and you kind of basically lightly toast it. That's a roux, R-O-U-X. Then you add your liquid or your broth or whatever and keep stirring to thicken it to make a gravy. Like Tracy was saying, she took the drippings and made a nice gravy. Well, that's what you would do. But you can do either one. Not everybody likes doing a roux. Some people like doing the slurry. Does that help you, Barbara, what a slurry is? Just slurs around. Okay, that's what it is. All right. So you're going to measure everything into the big measuring cup. So you're going to take
So I have a
a cup.
question.
Yes.
Why does the recipe say 1 cup beef broth plus a half a cup?
Well, you'll see that later. Did you look at the rest of it?
Well, I'm asking you because you're saying put all the sauce stuff in a container.
No, I put 1 cup of beef broth, but you're going to have another extra half a cup you're going to add later.
Okay, got it.
I
Okay.
did it wrong then.
It's okay.
'Cause I
You
did
could add
wrong.
it. Yeah, that's okay. It's no problem. I've done that too, and then sometimes I don't, so it's all right. Now, are all 3 of you using heavy cream, or you're using half and half, or what are you using? You're using a milk
The mix.
alternative? The what?
I used to mix mostly heavy cream and some half and half. 'Cause I
Okay. What did you use, Jill?
The heavy cream.
Okay, that's what I used. And Sandy, what'd you use, hon?
I'm half and half.
Half and half. Okay. Just so you know, if you can't do dairy or you choose not to, almond milk works really well too. Coconut milk, for some reason, doesn't work as well. But almond milk works really well. Okay. So if you don't want to do dairy, you remember something too. There's a lot of illnesses going around again. Hi, Judy. There's a lot of illnesses going around. I've had 3 patients with COVID in the last week again. And they're getting a lot of the mucus and a lot of the chest congestion. Stay away from dairy when that starts happening. Just like you'll get a postnasal drip, or you'll get a lot of phlegm, if you eat too much ice cream or dairy or whatever. The same thing at this time of year, when people start getting to where they have extra phlegm, or they're having any kind of a cold or congestion in their lungs, don't do dairy. Use your almond milk instead if you can, if you're not allergic to it. Okay, because it's very important not to get that phlegm buildup, because that's how you end up with fluid in your lungs, and that's hard to get out of. So then you're going to use about a teaspoon of the mock Worcestershire sauce. It's my recipe. Did all 3 of you have my Worcestershire sauce made? Like you kept a jar in the refrigerator? Okay, Jill did.
Yes.
Magda? You
No,
did
I
too?
didn't
And
make it. I didn't make it yet because I still had some. So I'll make it when I run out of the bottle stuff.
Right, that's what I do. I make a jar full, a canning jar, and keep it in the refrigerator. You don't have to make it for each recipe because it'll last a long time. Sandy, did you put in Worcestershire sauce on my recipe, or regular Worcestershire?
Your recipe,
Okay, so you made extra when we made it before too, huh?
right?
Okay, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Now, there has been some of my patients that have used regular mustard because they didn't have Dijon. It doesn't taste the same. It's kind of like trying to do Tracy's recipe without wine. It's not going to be the same. So make sure you use the Dijon if you have it. Then a half a cup of fresh chopped parsley. And if you don't have fresh, then you're going to have to adjust it. So it may be in a dried, probably, I'm guessing in this sauce, about the same or a little bit more in the dried, because you really want that flavor in there.
What about
And then I have it,
oh, sorry.
the what?
The za'atar?
Oh yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Oh, because it's above the Worcestershire on the recipe, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, a half a teaspoon each of dried thyme and oregano. Now, if you don't like oregano, I have some people that when I'm doing the classes or when I'm instructing my patients, they don't like oregano for some reason. I don't like it real strong, but I definitely like it. So that's your sauce. But Tracy has a point because mine didn't print out with za'atar. Hold on, maybe it's on the other page. No, mine didn't print.
Right under the heavy
So
cream.
it's under the heavy cream. Why don't I see it? Hold on a minute. Oh yeah, it is there. I missed it. Thank you. It is there. Thank you, dear heart.
You're welcome.
1 teaspoon of za'atar. Now, za'atar is the blend you buy that will very seldom have nightshades. It's not meant to have nightshades. So do all of you have it?
Yes.
Za'atar is a Middle Eastern spice, Zaatar.
Yes.
Okay, you have it, Magda. Sandy, do you have it, hon?
Yes.
Okay, and
I do.
where's Jill? Okay, I
It's
see
Jill,
you.
I do.
All right. Okay, Jill, I do. Just say it's the Galloping Gourmet. We know who it is. Okay, so you're going to, the important thing is that with the pasta, you're going to be using, there's a long list of ingredients. So I got to figure out how to say this so that it gets on the audio, on the video. But you're going to use pancetta or bacon. So you should fry that ahead of time, about halfway through. What are you using, Sandy? Bacon or pancetta?
I'm using bacon.
Okay, Magda?
Pancetta.
Pancetta, okay. And Jill?
Bacon.
Bacon, okay. So you just don't want it, you don't want it cooked all the way because you want the flavors to be able to let go of their flavor, I should say, enhance the flavor of the sauce. If it's completely cooked, the flavor is already in there, it's combined into the bacon and you're not going to get it in the sauce. So you won't get that French onion flavor. So what you're going to do is that should already be fried about halfway. Do all of you have it to that point?
Yes.
No? You do, not you. Okay, go ahead. And the pancetta, you don't have to fry it because pancetta is cooked
Yeah.
in most cases. Is that one cooked that you have,
Let me
Magda?
see.
Some of them are cooked and some, Tracy, did you know that? It was a patient that told me that. Not all pancetta is cooked.
Huh, didn't know that.
You know, like,
It doesn't
like
say
it's
on here.
aged, right? It's aged. It doesn't say, does it say ready to eat? Because you don't want to have it raw in the sauce.
It says uncured pancetta.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about that. It's gluten-free. It's cute.
Look and see if it tells you how to cook it. That'll give us a hint if we have to cook it or not. And for the other two of you, you can go ahead and make sure that the bacon is about half cooked, not crispy, but still to the point where you could cook it a little more before you eat it. And this is really important because people get in a hurry with the bacon or the pancetta and you don't get the flavor of the French onion. It makes a big difference. Does it say to cook?
It's cooked. Yeah.
It's cooked. Okay. So all you really have to do is just add it to the sauce. Unless you want to put it in some butter or something to get a little more flavor, it's already cooked. So it's okay. You don't have to cook it. You can add it to the sauce. Okay, so then you're going to heat the oil over kind of a medium-high heat. Okay, and when the oil splatters, you add the mushrooms if you're putting mushrooms in. So the mushrooms would be about 8 ounces roughly in about a tablespoon of avocado or coconut oil. And remember that anytime I say how much oil to use, adjust it to your liking. I mean, I always cheat and put a little bit of organic butter with the oil, whether it's coconut or avocado, because it gives it, especially if you're making a sauce, a cream sauce, I want that richness. So I put in butter. But you can do whatever you like, whatever you prefer, and whatever your dietary needs require. So you're going to add the mushrooms cut up any way you want. And that again is about 8 ounces. I use the button mushrooms, but you can use baby bells as well. And you're going to saute them about 3 minutes. Remember, the main important thing about mushrooms is if you cook them too much or too high of a heat, unless you're doing like a Japanese dish where they flash fry it, you're going to make them rubbery. So you don't want to do that if you're using mushrooms. This sauce does not require mushrooms in order to taste like French onion, like a good white sauce for pasta. It just enhances it. If you like mushrooms, you don't have to have it. Sprinkle with a little bit of salt to taste.
I'm just watching this for a little bit.
Okay, and then you're going to add the pancetta or the partially cooked bacon. So this is when you can add your pancetta, Magda, right to the mushrooms. Do you have mushrooms?
Yeah, but I thought that you said add the pancetta to the sauce. Didn't you?
Well,
just
you're
say
at
that?
this is part of the sauce. The mushrooms will go in the sauce as well.
Okay, well.
Go ahead. You can do it either way, but I don't want you to overcook the mushrooms
Okay.
because they will get rubbery. Okay. Are you doing okay, Jill?
I'm doing good. Yes.
Okay, and good, we can really hear you from where you are, so you don't have to run back and forth.
Great.
And Sandy, how you doing, hon?
I'm doing okay.
Are you what stage are you at? Did you put your mushrooms in? Are you using mushrooms?
I'm using the bell.
Okay, and then did you put in the bacon that's half fried or half cooked?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay, okay, good. So do that for another 3 or 4 minutes or so, and then take them off the fire. Okay, and out of the skillet if you can. Don't clean the skillet. Do what Tracy did. Leave the little pieces at the bottom. You don't want to scrape that skillet. You want that flavor in the sauce. And this has wine just like the ribs that she did. So set it aside. Put your thumbs up when you're done so that I know that we can go to the next step. So you took about 4 ounces of pancetta or diced bacon that was half cooked, half fried, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now you should have about 2/3 of a cup of dry white wine.
Okay.
You can buy white cooking wine, or you can just have a bottle of wine that you had a few days before, the night before, that you refrigerated, and use the leftovers for that. So you're back to the same skillet, okay? Now add the wine to the same skillet and put it up to about medium, depending on your stove, medium to medium high.
Going a little fast. I'm still on my mushroom.
Yeah, I'm still cooking my mushrooms.
Okay, all right, I'll slow down.
Thank you for telling her.
Yeah, because I'm waiting for thumbs up and I don't know what stage everybody's at.
That's
But
okay.
just so that you remember, when you do that, you don't want to get rid of the drippings on the bottom of the pan, because that's what's going to give it a lot of flavor when you add the wine and you start making your sauce. Okay? Teresa, did you just join us? I didn't see your picture before. No?
She was here.
She was here? Oh, I didn't see her before. Okay.
Yeah, she talked.
Yeah, but I couldn't, the pictures were on and off. Remember how weird Zoom was the other day? Now it's everybody's clear, but they weren't in the beginning,
Oh,
because I couldn't even see Jill, and then all of a sudden I saw her face.
maybe it's your connection.
I don't know.
My
I
mushroom.
know everybody was having trouble with Zoom the other day.
Okay, Magda's mushrooms.
Okay.
are done.
So I can
Magda's
add the
mushrooms
wine?
are done.
Yeah.
You take the mushrooms,
Yeah.
Magda, take the mushrooms and the bacon or the pancetta out of the pan.
Yeah. Done.
You did that?
Yep.
Okay, now go ahead and add your wine and then put the heat back up to medium on the same pan. Scrape the bottom of the pan, depending on if it's, if it's a ceramic or a nonstick, use a silicone. Otherwise you can use a metal spatula. And this adds the drippings to the sauce, which makes it really good. Okay, and that's about, again, 2/3 of a cup of white cooking wine, or dry white wine. And you can put in butter or more butter if you want. I have 3 tablespoons, but you could put in as much as you'd like. Add the butter and the sliced onions. So in the onions, you've got about 3 medium yellow onions. So it's, ounces is 15 ounces, but it's about 3 medium yellow onions to make this sauce. And this is for about 4 people, or 4 servings.
Ooh.
So add the butter. And like I said, I cheat in the beginning because I put a little bit of butter when I'm sauteing the mushrooms. Not with the bacon, but with the mushrooms. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to cook, and we can talk in between. I have some things to share, and I'm sure Tracy does. You're going to make sure that you caramelize the onions. Remember how we've had to do that for several recipes. Caramelizing makes them a nice medium to dark brown on the edges, and they start shriveling, so don't panic. Caramelizing brings out all the flavor, but also makes it a little bit of the sweetness. If you have a sweet onion to begin with, it's going to be a little sweeter. It's not going to make the sauce sweet, but the flavor comes out more. It enhances it by caramelizing it. All good chefs caramelize their onions in most dishes. So, stir frequently, don't let them burn. And then we have about, I don't know, just a few minutes to talk while we're doing that. So Sandy, are you into the onions yet, dear?
Yes, I am.
You are? Okay. Sandy, Jill?
Just starting, yes.
Okay, good. Well, Jill's at a high altitude, so we always have to make sure she's okay with us because it takes everything longer. Boy, do I know. I was at 8,000 feet when I lived in Ecuador and doing cooking classes and adjusting baking, especially, which I stopped doing because I couldn't get it right. At 8,000 feet is a whole different ballgame. Your cooking just completely changes. Yeah. Judy's shaking her head. I mean, the higher you are, the harder it is to adjust. So I had to have recipes for my US clients that weren't at high temperatures and recipes for people in that part of Ecuador that were at 8,000 feet. So it was tough. And like I said, every one of my baking recipes flopped. So I said, no more baking until I can get to where I can perfect a recipe at high altitude, because it was a mess. Everything would just flop and it looked terrible. Okay, so keep doing that until you caramelize them a little bit. Now, I want to mention some.
I have a question, please.
Are they caramel?
The
Say that again.
It's going to take a while, right? Because it's sitting in the wine.
Yeah, but you can put the fire up a little bit. Are you on a gas stove?
Yeah.
Okay, put the fire up a little bit. On an electric stove, you couldn't do that as easy.
Okay.
And I think Jill's on electric.
I am.
Yeah, you are. And I think Sandy's on gas, right, Sandy?
No, I'm on electric.
Oh, you're electric. So be careful. You can put it up a little higher, depending on your stove, to get them caramelized, but be careful because they will burn. Okay, Sandy, how's your onions?
They're done.
They're done. Jill, are yours done yet in your high altitude there?
No, they're getting close, so we can keep going because I know that, we might as well. Go ahead and keep directing
Okay.
everyone.
Okay, dear. So now that the onions are, Magda, yours are okay, right? Yours
Yeah, they're done.
Okay, they're done. Okay, so now you're going to, and you stir them constantly, remember that, or as often as you can. Reduce the heat. And then when the onions, let me see, hold on a minute. While the onions caramelize, okay, you already cooked the pasta, so we'll skip the part that says now while they're caramelizing, make sure you keep an eye on them and cook your pasta. Now add the garlic and cook for about 1 minute. Add the garlic to the onions that you just cooked. And the garlic, I said about 4 cloves. Again, that is personal preference. I never use just 4 cloves. I use probably 6 in this
Me
one.
either.
I never use. Do you do that too, Tracy? If a recipe says 2, I use 4.
Oh, yeah. I always.
Yeah, I love garlic. And she
Yeah,
lives in
I love
garlic country.
garlic.
I'm very jealous. She lives right in garlic country in Northern California. So that's amazing. Okay, now you should have 3 tablespoons of any kind of flour. Hopefully it's all-purpose gluten-free flour. And so now that you've added the garlic, add the flour slowly and cook it for about a minute. Keep stirring it or it's going to lump up. This is what's making your sauce. And then the sauce mixture from the first step that we did, you're going to add it again in small amounts and keep stirring it all. This is where you make a good sauce. So it's not quick. And I'll be honest, when I make this sauce, because it does take a little bit of time for the onions and all that, I make 2 or 3 times the recipe. Okay. Thank you, Judy. Make a bunch more. Stick it in the refrigerator. If it happens to get too thick with the flour, add a little bit more cream or half and half or almond milk and heat it up and use it on something else. It's delicious on our veggie burgers. This gravy is amazing. Okay, then you're going to continue to stir to a gentle boil, not a hard boil. You don't want it splattering all over. Then reduce it to simmer after you get to that point. If you're going to use cheese, and again, you can even use a vegan cheese. A lot of my patients can't have any dairy products at all, so they use a vegan cheese. And I have a recipe for one that is amazing. So I will make sure that's in the next. Tracy's eyes just got big. It is so good. And it's made
Vegan
with
cheese, my eyes got big. No.
I know, I'm pushing your buttons.
Oh.
Now you're going to add the mushroom sauce and the pancetta or the bacon, stir it to combine, and then you can dump in your pasta and do the taste test and tell me what it is. Again, when I did this the other day, added a little bit more wine to the sauce because it started getting too thick on me. And you know how flour is strange. Sometimes you use the same flour, it thickens real quick. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm convinced it's got to do with the humidity or the temperature in the room. Do you find that too, Tracy? I may use 3 tablespoons one time in the same recipe and it thickens quick, and other times I have to add another one. I don't know why, because I'm not changing altitude. No?
Yeah. No, I don't usually use flour. I use guar gum. Oh, no, xanthan gum.
Yeah, I've tried that in my sauces and I don't like the flavor. I want the flour. So I use the flour, but that xanthan gum does thicken it, yes.
I use so
So
little.
it's just like you said, we're all individual. I don't like the flavor. I want the old gravy flavor, the old cream sauce flavor. And I don't get that no matter how much butter if I add something else to it to thicken it. So if you do that and it gets too thick, add a little splash of wine. Or if you don't want more wine in it, add a little bit more broth. Now, Tracy put up at one time, pardon?
At this point, do we add the mushrooms and the cheese after?
Yeah, you add everything at this point.
Okay.
Add it all, make sure it's thickening.
Yeah.
And then who just had their hand up? Somebody did. And then it went down.
I
I
missed
don't
it.
remember who it was.
Like
Yeah,
the-
you missed it.
Karina.
They put their hand up, but
Oh, Karina?
Karina. Okay, Karina, do you have a question, hon? Yes, unmute.
So I have used arrowroot for a thickener. Just wanted to let you
Yes,
know.
I
and
have
don't
too.
know if you could use it in the soup or not.
It's not a soup, it is a sauce. So you probably can try it. But again, when I've tried other things like arrowroot, it just doesn't work. Or, any of the other thickeners. The only thing that works for me is either white rice flour, which I don't want the carbs, or the all-purpose flour that is mixed with almond flour and coconut flour, that type of mix. It's what works the best for gravies and sauces for the taste that I want, which is I want to taste it like it's the old-fashioned gravy my mother used to make, or the old-fashioned sauces, cheese sauces. So thank you for adding that. And remember that if you can use cheese, put cheese into your heart's content. I love cheese. And I do have a delicious cheese made with cashews that you grind yourself, that it's absolutely delicious. It's got 3 ingredients. You put it in the refrigerator, it thickens, and it's like a thick cream cheese. I have used that in this sauce for people that can't have dairy when I cooked it in my classes, and it was delicious. So I will get that recipe to Tracy before too long. Not tomorrow, but before too long. So put in all the cheese to your heart's content, add your pasta, give it a good stir, and then give it a taste and let me know.
Dawn
We're
has-
waiting for Chef Jill because she always has such cute expressions when she tastes. Dawn, go ahead, hon. You have a question.
Yes. So I had heard you mentioned cashews, and I had heard, I have no idea the accuracy of this, but I had heard that cashews were related to the poison ivy plant, and I was just curious if there might be any toxicity or harm with cashews. I know when I had my gallbladder attack and was in the hospital for a week just about 2 years ago, that I had been eating cashews beforehand, and I got really, really sick. So I'm just curious your take on that.
My take is that they're very healthy as far as the healthy fats and the protein, but some people can't tolerate it, especially if your gallbladder is already overcompromised.
Mm.
Okay, so, but as far as it being in the family of that, I don't know. Tracy, do you know if it's in the family of, I really don't know. No,
Yeah,
I haven't heard that, but then I haven't specifically looked it up either.
yeah, I haven't heard
But
that.
if it's, but no, but if you have, let me put it this way, Dawn, if you've never done a gallbladder cleanse and you're over 50 years of age and you eat a lot of cashews, any nut, not just cashews, macadamia nuts will do it to you too. I have patients in Hawaii that eat macadamia nuts and make sauces and everything with it all the time because they're so good over there. And they all had gallbladder problems until they started doing flushes a couple times a year. I love macadamia milk. I love macadamia nuts. But yes, there's something in the nuts, in the specific oil, that can trigger a gallbladder attack if you're eating a lot of them and you know you've never done a flush to clean out whatever needs to be cleaned out of the gallbladder.
Is it phytic
So that
acid?
said,
Is it phytic acid that's in the nuts?
I don't know, hon. I really don't. I'd have to look it up.
Okay, well, I guess it doesn't matter.
But I haven't had problems with it, but I have to do gallbladder flushes periodically. I just did one when all of you that did, and all I got was sand. So I'm overdue, but I was waiting because we had a lot of other issues with Brian's health and I wanted to wait. I didn't want to be doing a flush when I was, nursing him more. So,
Well,
okay. So how are you all doing
today? So thank you for that though. Thanks.
Are you? Okay, good. Oh, and listen, Tracy brought up a good point. She only took about what, a half a cup of oil in the original cleanse that you did?
The first time I did it, which was not your cleanse.
Right,
Peggy
I
sent
know.
it to me. And it's the Hulda Clark
Okay,
one.
so
I did a half a cup.
yeah, right. And you can do a half a cup if you're afraid of getting nauseous. I don't get nauseous if I put it in pear juice. I buy the cans of, unsweetened pear juice or apple juice and I do okay. If I don't, I do get nauseous and I can vomit. So if you're, and I don't have a sensitive stomach normally. So just judge it. If you don't think you can do the whole amount of oil, do at least a half a cup, which is one of the original cleanses. It's a little different than the one I do, but it's effective. So just do a half a cup. Don't overdo it if you think that you can't tolerate all that oil. Okay, thank you for that, Dawn. Okay, so how are we doing?
Okay,
Who's
everybody's
tasted it?
ready to
Oh.
eat. Look at Sandy Magda.
Oh, let me see.
Oh, good.
I gotta watch you girls
Oh.
eat tonight. Come on, show me.
Come on, Sandy, how is it?
Let me see.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Good.
Is it creamy?
Really like it.
Yeah.
It's real creamy.
Okay. It's real creamy. Can you taste the difference in the sauce because you caramelize the onions? Because if you had just sauteed onions, it's not the same.
No, it is different.
It
And
is
I like
different.
it.
Okay.
I like it, yes.
Okay, good. Did you use gluten-free pasta?
Yes.
Good. Good for you.
And I
Okay,
use the
Jill,
gluten-free
come on.
flour.
We're coming along. I'm adding,
Good.
it's starting to thicken, so I should be done here in about
Okay.
2 minutes.
Okay, that's okay. We'll go to Magda. Magda, did you try it yet?
Yes, it's delicious.
Okay, so
Forward to dinner.
what can you tell? That's for dinner. What can you tell those that are not cooking? How does it taste different from just like a white pasta sauce? Does it have the depth of the onion? Because it's supposed to be French onion.
Yeah, I like all the onion in it because it has a lot of onion in it, and I also can taste the parsley really good in there. The mushrooms,
Okay.
of course. Yeah, the whole combination is fantastic.
Did you have to thin it again, or did it come out okay as far as consistency? It was fine?
Yeah. It was very good.
Okay. So
Thank
remember,
you.
if it gets, and after it sits, if you have extra sauce or extra pasta, when you reheat it, you're going to have to put a little bit of wine or a little bit more broth because it will get thick. And so when I reheat mine, that's what I do.
Okay.
Sandy, is that a thumbs up? She's so cute. Okay, so Jill is still
I
in
had a
her high
mouthful.
altitude trying to, you got a mouthful. Anybody have any comments or questions? Just remember that gluten is glue for the gut. So it not only causes a lot of stickiness in your GI tract that can be very detrimental, but it also causes inflammation. Linda, go ahead, hon.
Two things. You said about using almond milk instead of the heavy cream. Do you need to add anything to the almond milk to thicken it?
You have to really adjust it. Use the same amount of flour, but if it isn't thickening like you wanted to, just add a little bit more flour. That's the only difference I found with almond milk.
And
Brian this morning made me like an eggs Benedict with homemade gravy, with a slice of organic turkey instead of ham. I'm not doing well with ham lately, so we got some organic turkey slices, and we made the gravy with all-purpose gluten-free flour and almond milk. We didn't make the gravy with any dairy, and we had to add more, but it came out delicious with all the herbs and rosemary, thyme. It was absolutely delicious. So we put some chives in it, but we did have to add another tablespoon of flour. It wouldn't thicken to the consistency that I like it. Yeah. And your next question?
then you can substitute the Bragg's aminos for the Worcestershire sauce.
Yes. Yes. And the Worcestershire sauce, if you're using the store-bought, has a lot of nasty stuff in it. But if you're okay with it, you can use it. If you make my recipe and put it like in a canning jar, it'll last a good 3 months. Just always check anything that you make homemade and you refrigerate. Always check it for any sign of mold or any kind of discoloration before you use it, because it depends on humidity. It depends on your refrigerator. Don't just think, oh, it's only been a month, it'll be fine. No, make sure you always look before you stir it up to make sure that it's okay. Because we live in an apartment where the refrigerator is horrible, and something that should last 3 months, I'm lucky to last 2 weeks because I'll get mold in it. So I really have to be careful when I pull out something that I've made. Now, my Worcestershire sauce I haven't had trouble with, but other things I have. Does that answer your question? Okay. So we're waiting for our high altitude galloping gourmet,
Yes,
and
and
then
I
we're
just
done.
put it on my plate and I'm snapping the picture for Tracy.
Yeah, but we want all those motions when
And
you
I've
taste
got
it.
I've
That's what
got
we
my
look.
spore candy. It's
Okay.
beautiful.
Ooh,
That is beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Very pretty.
That's gorgeous.
Lovely.
Did you taste it yet?
I'm just
No, she's
taking
going
my
to
bite
now.
now.
Jill is the fancy gourmet.
Oh my gosh. It's delicious,
Okay,
isn't it?
what's the difference between that and a plain white sauce? Like, you can even go to one of the pasta places or Olive Garden and get a white sauce. What's the difference?
I taste so many separate flavors, like they were saying. You can taste the garlic, you can taste the parsley, the little bit of wine, the cheese. You can taste every single thing. It just sets on your palate so well. It's amazing.
Right.
And
Good.
those onions
Thank you,
caramelized,
thank you.
that's delicious.
Yeah,
Oh.
so when you're not in a hurry and you're not on a show, take your time and really caramelize them, because it makes such a difference. People just never believed me, and then I would do the same dish in a cooking class with the onions. My sous chef would do the onions, so that I could keep teaching, and I would do it with just sauteing them like you would for any dish. And when they tasted it, it was no comparison. So you do need to make sure you allow enough time. But the good thing about this is it reheats beautifully. So if you wanted to make it the night before, you've got a busy week, add a little bit of something to dilute it so that it heats up and doesn't burn. Cover it, let it steam a little bit, and you've got it just like you just cooked it. So I think that was a success. Should we get a 5 thumbs up from all of the cooks? Teresa, go ahead, hon.
Can you freeze the
thumbs up.
sauce?
Oh,
Yes. Yes, you can. You can freeze it. And actually, when I froze it, I always do 1 cup servings, because I'm a saucy person. Tracy will tell you that. I like a little bit of food with my sauce. And so if it's just me, I can go through a whole cup of sauce on a dish. I used a half a cup of homemade gravy on my, Sandy's shaking her head, on my eggs Benedict this morning. I had a poached egg, not any bread, just a poached egg with some spinach underneath, and my slice of turkey. And I had I had a lot of sauce. So yes, I think that a half a cup or a cup, you freeze it, make sure it's airtight, and that you'll have to use within about a month because it will start getting icy. But you can freeze it, yes, absolutely. Okay. Other questions, comments? Okay,
Sure,
ladies,
thanks a
thank you
lot.
so much.
Oh,
Did you have fun just
wonderful.
Did you have fun just watching too? I hope.
Mm.
Did you?
Good.
Okay.
We're glad you
good.
joined
It's
us.
fun, isn't it? Yes, absolutely. We love all of you here. And thank you so much for being part of our QHS cooking galloping gourmet group here. We'll have to come up with some cute thing to do with that. I can just see us with a Q logo galloping around the kitchen. So thank
Well,
you
and
so
then-
much. Have a great,
Wait, next week, we have portobello or cauliflower steak au poivre.
yeah.
Did I say that right?
So
wow.
if you don't like, yeah, you did. You said it perfectly. If you don't like or can't get the portobello, I suggest if you like mushrooms, find them because they're in season right now. If not, you can cut a cauliflower steak and cut it nice and a good size, like a hamburger patty thickness, and you can use that as well. Or if you can't eat mushrooms for some reason. But I encourage you, even if you do the portobello recipe, also use the same recipe for cauliflower later because it's delicious. And if you can't get the mushroom, or you have a guest or somebody in the family that can't have it, then you can get cauliflower all year. So please try the recipe both ways. But we will be cooking it next Monday. Have a great, safe 4th of July long weekend. God bless all
Enjoy
of you,
your
and thank
time
you for
off,
supporting our
everyone.
show.
Bless you guys.
Thank you,
Yes.
Tracy.
Bless you.
Gigi.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you so
God bless.
much.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
See ya.